If you're about to retire, this message is for you. However, if you're young and you're working towards a retirement and you don't want to end up in the scenario which I'm going to share with you in a second, this is definitely the content that you should watch. I want to paint a very, very nasty picture quickly. And unfortunately, a high percentage of the South African community ends up here. And that is, you're retired, therefore you no longer have an income. Now you have to rely on your child's financial support, which then puts pressure on their marriage, on their spouse. You never ever want to leave your child in a position where his or her spouse has to say, oh no, we have to give your parents 3,000 Rand again, or oh no, we have to pay them 5,000 Rand again, or oh no, we have to switch on their lights because you no longer can look after yourself. If you don't want to end up there, please watch this video as we're about to share 4 real tips and strategies on how to prepare for the day when you retire. Thank you for sharing your time with us. As always, Anna Marie Meyer and Eddie Magane.
Sure.
Let's get into it.
Thank you.
There are 4 major factors that affect retirement and retirement savings in the South African economy. The first major factor is longevity.
According to the World Bank in 2019, the average age risen from 49 to 64, if I recall correctly.
Yes, that's
and that's
true.
a problem because you're going to outlive your pension fund.
Unfortunately, yes.
And that's the worst. So that is something that you need to reconsider that. Have I got enough money? Medical aid is going to go up. You're going to have this whole market. But take that in consideration. The amount of time left, we're going to live longer.
We are, which is great because
it's good.
Today 60 is a couple of decades ago 40.
40.
Yeah.
100%.
Exactly.
We
can live a very healthy lifestyle until the age of 75.
Thank God,
and even
yes.
more. But can your money last?
100%. So planning for your longevity immediately. So the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, but the second best is now. I've said this a million times. So starting to plan for it now. And these are real technical yet unemotional conversations that you need to have with your spouse and with your family. You need to leave emotion outside the room, and it needs to be a pure logical.
True.
How much money at this age do we need to live a comfortable life?
Yeah.
What do we need to pay off in terms of a bond so that we don't have that commitment at the age of 65? These are technical questions to ensure your longevity.
And the thing is, you won't know what's going to happen to the market, inflation, but you need to plan.
You need to plan.
And you need to think about it. None of us wanted to think about this at the age of 20, 25. You don't want to. But when you get to a later age, then you realize. And when you get close to your 50s, you start panicking. Because then if you get those stats and you suddenly realize, I don't want to be in that situation where my child needs to look after me.
Absolutely not.
And unfortunately, I still plan to live a very long life. And most of us do.
Of course. Number 2, unexpected expenses.
Yeah. So observation shows we most likely to use exhaust medical aid at an infant stage or when we're older.
Yes.
Retirement time is mostly for those lucky people. It's supposed to be a time where you are able to spend time with your grandchildren, quality time with your grandchildren, extended family, travel the world, and etc. However, that would be the most of our planning, and we never take into account the possibility or the unforeseen expenses that comes with your health at that stage. So medical aid, you have options. Yeah, you have options of shortfall covers where you can be covered for any illnesses. I mean, it happens. I mean, we all have our elderlies at home. We know they get to go through different treatments at that stage of their lives. But now that we know, we can always plan for it. You can always make sure that you speak to your insurer. Yes, make sure that you have very good cover, and you're covered for any any unforeseen expenses at that time. So it's very important that you make sure that you are prepared should you need that.
100%. Then you have the third one, which is family commitment. So you have to rationalize and process the one fact, which is we're all going to die eventually. That's going to happen. It's inevitable.
It's fine, but it's how I'm going to get there.
100%. And what happens when I do? Because I do, it's coming. What happens once I do? So here's the time that you have to make sure that your will is in order. This is a very technical document. If there's a comma or a dot in the wrong place, the government could eat 33 or 40% of your estate. So this is one place where you really want to spend money on a good lawyer or a good financial planner to make sure your will is in place. Second thing that you need to look at is your life cover. What happens to my loved ones? Then I recently went through this process. So the guy was brilliant. He had a nice opening. He says, it's going to be an expensive thing if you die. Your death will be expensive. I said, oh, it's for free. I'll die for free. He says 100%. But the after effect of that is going to be expensive. So if you want to leave the company in the same financial position as it is today, with you no longer being here, here's a policy that you have to take out. It's an expensive policy because that ensures your debt that you've taken on is paid for, and the company remains. I said, okay, great. Then what about key man insurance? Are you a key individual in the company? Sure, I'm a key individual in the company. I'm one of many leaders in the company. So who replaces you? Is there key man insurance? Is there an amount that needs to be paid into the company for that company to either promote somebody within the business or, recruit, go and get the leaders to say, okay, we need a person that can execute. These are the 5 things Bobby did very well. Who are we going to recruit? How long will it take? What do we pay that person? Where do we get him from? How does that whole thing happen? So your will needs to be very clear and stipulated. If I die, these are the people, the leaders in the company that need to sit around the table and discuss what is it that I did well, give those people assignments and say, this is how you replace Bobby in the company. And this is the person that we need. And that costs money. And I didn't know that. So it's expensive to die.
The worst is this whole conversation, this is an emotional thing.
No, it's not.
And it's not. No, we're supposed to take out the emotions
it's
out of it.
It's a very logical
thing. But it's still, it is logical. But it's close to home for every living human being. So it's not only me or you that's going to be touched by this. It's every single person around
100%.
you.
But how you do it leaves a legacy, because if you do it properly and you have your ducks in a row, the people that you leave behind will mourn the loss of you. They won't mourn the loss that you leave behind. There's a big difference between the two. So they'll mourn.
You can shred havoc.
Correct.
In your circumstances, you can shred havoc if it's not in place.
100%.
On hundreds of people.
100%.
With me, it's going to be my whole family. With you, it's going to be your whole family. But with you, it's a different story. And I think there's a lot of people that don't think this through.
100%.
They need to. It's a logic thing. Just work it out.
A logical thing. So, Bobs, you die tomorrow. Boom. You kick the bucket. Whatever happens, a bus hits you, or hopefully it's not that dramatic. You just don't wake up. It is what it is. This is how much the company will take a crack if you don't have these 2 or 3 policies. So these are the policies that you need for the company and the leaders of the company to be able to say, okay, Bob's is no longer here. However, okay, we're still in a good financial place.
You made provision.
There's provisions being made. And then my will says, okay, these are the people that need to sit and decide who's going to replace me in what duties and who do we need to hire to take on the 2 or 3 or 4 things that you guys feel you need help with that are provided to the company. But that costs money.
Yeah, because it might be 5 people and not only 1 person.
Well, I think it's going to be 500, but
I think
I'm just in a big ego mood tonight. But it's 1 person, but you have to get it right. You have to get the right person. And then fourthly, the market.
Yeah. A market, I think people don't think about it. What happened to us now with interest rates? Gone up, gone down.
Yeah.
But the same with your savings. So you need to, first of all, no matter what age, closer to retirement, more important. No matter what your age, if you've got policies in place, you need to, at a minimum of every second year, preferably once a year, get all your policies checked out. Because if you don't, we don't read those newspapers. We don't read the email coming through. So just get your broker to go through it once a year with you so that you know you're still at the right position.
100%.
Because maybe it's time for an upgrade. Maybe it's time for a shift to a different policy.
100%.
Because by the time you retire, it's too late. If you then suddenly realize there's not enough, I need to put in an additional R1,000, but you're really in a planning stage to start cutting down, and then you can't do it. So that's extremely important. Because if you invest most of your portfolio in a specific market, make sure you know that market, or start investing in portfolios that's less of a risk at a later stage.
A lower return, but less of a risk.
Lesser risk.
So I think in closing, I'm going to leave everybody with this message. It is a very logical process that you need to walk yourself through. However, you need to attach emotion to it. Now, I started off the episode with an extreme, but isn't an extreme because many families are going through this. I've heard, in my friendship circle, people come to me and say, yeah, we have to give the in-laws X amount of money. It's such a drag. It's such a nuisance to us. Now, it comes off as unhurtful, but if you are on the receiving end, if you are the child of that parent, how do you process whatever your spouse just said? Maybe you are also dependent on that spouse's income. How do you process that? I don't think any of you want to put your kids in that position. Therefore, you have to start today. If you feel that we've added value on this episode, if you feel like we left you better than we found you, please leave a comment as well as the like button, and
please subscribe to our channel.
Sure. Remember to ring the bell.
Thank you and take care and be safe. Bye-bye.